to the real God anointed servant. Blessings to you as well. 20, good morning. Okay, I think I am live now on Facebook and YouTube. I think, let me just make sure. Okay, how's everyone doing? Let me put my number in here while we're waiting for some people to tune in and ask their questions. Again, you can find my number if you're tuning in after I've gone live on Instagram. My phone number is going to be in my profile. If you are on YouTube or Facebook, you can see it going through the ticker, so you can use either or. Ahmed, good morning. How are you doing? Dijon Dial, good morning. And morning, Laddie, good morning. So if you are, if this is your first time tuning in, my name is Aisha Chidole. I'm an immigration lawyer. I present clients all over the United States with immigration matters. We handle family-based cases, consular processing, humanitarian-based cases like VAWA, teach for trafficking, U visas for victims of serious crimes, removal cases, some detention cases. So definitely schedule a consult. Our number is 407-995-6567. Pray for us. We have a bond hearing today. I'm hoping that the client gets approved this morning. But let's see what's going on. Okay. Someone is asking, how many years does a VAWA green card take? The answer depends. Right now, before I could tell general timelines, but right now, obviously the timeline really also depends on what country you're from. So if you're not from one of the countries that have a more delayed processing, the countries with the adjudicative hold, for most people, it's going to be somewhere closer to 3.5 years, 4 years. That's what I would say. Obviously I say the window of 3 to 4 years, but more 3.5 years. We're seeing some of the 2022 people, they're going to be doing much more VAWA interviews now. I've heard this from a few of my colleagues. We actually have 2 clients that have VAWA interviews. I'm not talking about the 485 of the VAWA interviews. And those 2 clients were people who submitted in 2022. So those that are still waiting from 2022, which I know is a lot of people, you're kind of in that window right now to kind of, and some of those people being interviewed also are from the 39 countries. So as we find out more, I will be happy to share more. And as I've said, before someone types when is a pause being lifted, expect that if you're from the 39 countries, that your cases are going to be slower than the normal cases because of all the secondary review of those cases that they're doing. Okay. So if someone says I have a VAWA pending, and it's been pending for 33 months, and I received a NOID status yesterday, but notice wasn't issued. Do you know how long does USCIS take to issue the notice for the NOID? So if you got a NOID means a notice of intent to deny. If you just got it yesterday, you should probably have it in your mail by either the end of this week or by early next week. You want to count 33 days from the date on the NOID, but really for safety, really 30 days. You want to get it in by then, whatever it is that they're seeking. And when you are addressing your NOID or your request for additional evidence, understand that you can cherry pick which part you want to address. If you so much as miss one thing on one point, they will deny you. So you want to address everything, and hopefully you're able to overcome whatever the basis of your NOID is. Okay. Okay. Good morning. Your new lip color is fire. Thank you. How long does it take to get a bona fide determination for T visa cases? Honestly, not all T visa cases get this. This is one that is, you're less likely to get a BFD than you are a prima facie determination in a VAWA case. Not getting a BFD doesn't mean that your case is going to be denied. We have clients that didn't get a bona fide, but their Ts were still approved. So I just want to make that clear. That's number one. Number two, from a timeline perspective, I haven't really seen a steady pattern to be able to say this is on average. But I would say the earliest that we see that would be maybe from like 10 to 13 months from submission, and thereabout if you're going to get one. Okay. What's the update for U.S. citizens filing for their spouses that are in Nigeria International? The update is that there's no update. Nigeria is still banned from a consular processing standpoint. They haven't lifted that. As you guys remember, when they placed this ban, they said that they would review it every 180 days, which is 6 months. 6 months from now, we will know whether they've lifted any ban from any of those countries, which would be sometime in June. So until then, I will have no updates, most likely for you. If you are trying to consular outside, if you have one of the strategies that I've told people just to kind of reduce your wait time when they do lift this ban, because it will eventually be lifted, whether it's this administration, or the next one is file the I-130, get the approval, and continue to let NVC know that you plan to pursue it, once the ban is lifted, so that they can keep your case open, so that you're not starting from scratch once the ban is lifted, because you will be stuck in the beginning of the backlog, which is fully expected, because of the delay. Okay. I'm from Egypt. It's not one of the 39 countries. I submitted my VAWA on September 2022. I got approved on March 17th, but on 4/16/26, the update states, we ordered your new card. What card do they mean? Congratulations, this is actually incredible news, Ahmed. Your VAWA got approved. Usually they order your card and notify you of that before they actually issue your actual approval, usually a day after or like a couple of days after, a week after. So the order is correct. The card that you're receiving is going to be a VAWA EAD that comes with deferred action, meaning that you're not a priority for detention or deportation. It's going to be a C31 card, which means that your VAWA is approved. And usually if you filed an I-485 with that, what happens next is then they'll schedule you for an I-485 interview where they'll go over your I-485 form. And if everything looks good there, you'll get your 10-year green card. So congrats. Lottie says, how long to receive an EAD and travel documents timeline? I don't know what kind of case you have. The answer depends on what kind of case you have and what country you're from. Yeah, we should start that. Like, if you guys want to ask a question pertaining to you yourself, you might want to start putting the country, because, and maybe I need to have the printout, because I don't remember all 39 countries, so I can't tell you all 39 countries off the top of my head. I usually have to go through a chart, because there's just so many countries that are overlapping and so many things. So starting tomorrow, I don't have a printout with me, but I'm just going to have my printout next to me to go over. I mean, there are obviously some countries that I know that are on the list because we deal with those clients a lot. But that way, when I'm answering your question, I can let you know. Lottie says you're from Bahamas. And so let me go back. Okay, so you're from Bahamas. You still haven't told me what kind of case you have, so I can't really answer that question. So tell me what kind of case you have, and then I will. Okay, you have a VAWA. So 6 to 11 months. 6 to 11 months is when you should expect to get your EAD, which is your work permit and your travel permit, because you fall somewhere between that. I would say majority of people right now in 6.5 to 7.5 months seem to be the average. Sometimes it might be a little bit earlier, but you really can't say it's late until after the 11-month mark. So somewhere in that window. Ahmed says, thank you so much. You helped me a lot by watching your videos. I've been following you for over 3.5 years. Oh, thank you. I'm glad that these videos have been helpful to you or to anyone that watches it. Hopefully you get your 10-year green card and can, live your life in peace. Ma'am, if a couple doesn't have health insurance coverage, what other evidence of the same gravity can one bring to a marriage-based green card interview? I don't know why my screen just changed. Like, it just automatically creates this filter by itself. It's so weird. Like, now I look like, I don't know, like a cartoon character, but I don't know how to fix that. But anyway, you had asked, what other evidence can you bring that carries the same weight as, a health insurance? From an evidentiary standpoint, the most important evidence when you're thinking about insurance is usually used to support, I would say, financials, right? Financials, meaning where there's skin in the game, there's some sort of investment in the relationship. Obviously, everybody's financial situation is different. Some people have more money than others. But if you don't have health insurance, then do you have bank accounts? Do you have bank accounts that are active that you guys are using consistently? Do you guys have savings accounts? Do you have credit cards? Do you have any kind of car insurance, like auto insurance? Do you have dental? Do you have renter's insurance? So these are all some other things that you can use, because it's not one evidence that qualifies or disqualifies someone. It's just having several different ones that, all things being equal, when they look at them all, they're able to say, okay, this person, has enough to prove that their marriage is genuine. Okay. How long is it taking for you to get your travel permit and work permit if you marry a permanent resident? The answer is going to depend on when you filed your application. So did you file like after April when visas became current? Are you in current legal status? Because, you have to be in current legal status, meaning you can't have been an overstay or worked under the table to file for adjustment to a permanent resident. So let's first start with that, and if you fall under that. I just came back from my I-485 interview. My I-130 has been approved already. It's been 2 years. When do you think my green card will be approved? It's filed on marriage. Skajani, I honestly don't know, because I wasn't at your interview, so I can't answer the question. Hopefully your interview went well, and hopefully they will approve it soon. Every time I send an application for a VAWA work permit, they send it back claiming to send it to the right office. Please, what could account for this? What could account for this is that you should not be doing it yourself. You should hire a lawyer, because clearly you are not equipped to do it. And I'm saying that most respectfully. This is an important application for you. And if you've gotten it back once based on a reason that you can't decipher, it should be a clue to you that you should be using a professional who does this on a daily basis that can identify the problem and get it to where it needs to go, because, it's obviously something that seems to be a problem with yours. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Question. If you got divorced from your abuser while waiting for your VAWA approval, should immigration be updated or informed of your divorce status? Yeah, you can do that. Either update them there or update them at your 485 interview. In this case, it's an abuse case. You're not filing based on good faith marriage, so it really doesn't impact your case, in any way, as far as, you didn't let us know you're divorced, because obviously that's the expectation. You're in an abusive marriage, that you're not going to stay together. So if you can, definitely send them that. If not, you can bring it to you at the interview, whichever one works for you, depending on what stage you are in the process. Is Nigeria on pause for naturalization? It's on pause for naturalization. It's on pause for a decision. So they will work through your case up until decision, and then they will pause pause it. I have 2 Nigerian interviews next week that have been rescheduled. I'll let you all know how it goes next week, late next week, for that, just to see if we're going to start getting some, affirmative decisions. If you haven't received your prima facie after 2 years, what does that mean for your case? 2 years is a long time never to have received a prima facie determination letter. It would help to go through your case, what was submitted, to see what is missing. Usually there is something missing that would usually stop them from giving you a prima facie determination letter. So they could either send you a request for additional evidence, and then if you're able to overcome that, then they will give it to you, or you can reach out to an attorney. They can review your packet, figure out what it is that's missing from your application, and do an amendment of your file. Does the pause affect I-765 applications? Yes, it does. Toya says, I filed VAWA in November of 2022, and I have no update, 5 prima facies and a 5-year work permit. What should I do? I guess you must have just joined in. I literally just talked about this. I just talked about cases from 2022. These are the cases that they are currently reviewing. So I'm sure you for sure be hearing something, within the next couple of months. I filed for VAWA, did my biometrics, and it's been 7 months, no other response. Yeah, 7 months is nothing. Like, what would you expect to get in 7 months? 7 months is a normal timeline, so you're still fine, right? What if someone came in the country by boat? Can his wife file for him? They can, but the question is where. So if you came in by boat, meaning that you crossed the border, you came in undocumented, you're not able to adjust your status in the United States through marriage. There are other things that you might be eligible for, but in order to determine eligibility, we would have to screen to know what else the person may be eligible for. But otherwise, typically you can file the I-130, and if the I-130 is approved, you can request a 601A waiver, which is what it exists for. If the 601A waiver is approved for hardship to your U.S. citizen spouse, then you would go back to your home base for consular processing when your interview is scheduled. Of course, it comes with its risks, especially in the current administration. 601As literally were created for that, but it is possible that they could still decide to give you an NTA based on that, especially if they're not planning to approve you. So so it comes with the risk in this administration, but that's what the options would be. Okay. Okay, I think I answered this one already. If someone has asylum going on and they apply for VAWA, can they close their asylum? Honestly, it's a mixed bag. I really, 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 really do not like asylum cases. You guys know this. And it's not because people are not entitled to apply for asylum when they have a legitimate case, whatever it is. The problem is that because this asylum has been abused so much to the point where people use it as a placeholder to get a work permit, it pains me to see those people get stuck, because of a frivolous asylum claim. They're not able to adjust their status in any other way again because they had that frivolous claim, or they get placed in removal proceedings because they just wanted to do that. So it really sucks submitting an asylum claim when you truly don't have an authentic and valuable asylum case, because it's like, what phrase can I use? And that's why I tell you guys, I'm really not keen on asylum cases. Any of you that have been following me for years know that I talk about this, and I've talked about this in every administration, unless you have a really solid case and you're not doing this as a placeholder. In that case, I wouldn't say to close. If you truly have a solid asylum case, there's no point of closing your case. get one approval before you close the case, right? Like, there's no point. Like, if someone came to me and said, look at all this evidence, look at all these things that happened to me, like, I truly have fear for my life, fear of persecution. Like, if I go back, I was very vocal about the people in office, I was part of this movement, this militia group, this whatever. And then now they're eligible for VAWA. I wouldn't tell them to withdraw their asylum or close their asylum application, because we don't have any approved petition. I would want them to keep both petitions open until one makes it to the finish line. Obviously, if you have a frivolous asylum case, it shouldn't exist, but it carries a risk trying to withdraw it of you being sent an NTA, so it's really hard to like give advice, in that regard. So for me, generally, I want someone to get a benefit in another way before they close something else. Ma'am, since Nigeria is among the 39 adjudicative pause countries within the US, with a recent update on April 1st, does that mean he could get approved if his interview is great based on their case? I don't know. I will let you guys know when we get there. As I read to you guys yesterday what they said, they're taking it case by case, which means you're going to see like a really long delay for cases from these 39 countries to make a decision, because there are some people that are from this 39 pause countries that had interviews before April, like that had interviews in like January, February, who have slam dunk cases, very solid. So I'm waiting for even their decisions, because I remember one of the officers said, we will for sure approve you guys. We just need them to give us permission to start making those decisions. So until I see a decision made, I can't really say. So I will let you guys know. Okay. Okay. Bublin says, I think maybe your first comment is missing. All I see is that do the psychology evaluation. I don't know what you're referring to. And I also don't know what you're referring to, Rose Mills. Oh, okay, Rose Mills, you're the one who said he came in from Jamaica by boat. Yes, what I stated still remains the same. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Can an overstay travel domestically on a VAWA with a pending travel permit? It's my preference that you get an approved EAD before you travel so that you can get a real ID. So you can get a driver's license or an ID card. And then once you get that, you can travel, as long as you don't have any criminal records. How backed up are U visa applications? U visa applications is not a question of being backed up, but more of a question of how many can be approved. It's kind of like the lottery in terms of there are only a certain amount that can be approved per year. So you will find most U cases take about 7 years at minimum. The U cases take a long time at minimum. If you get a bona fide determination and an EAD, you're going to just keep renewing your EAD until they make a decision on your case. But most U visas do take a long time. The U visas and asylum, I would say, are the longest in terms of all the humanitarian cases. T visa is the shortest, and then VAWA is next after that. Every time I come on live, I want to sneeze, and the sneeze is not fully coming out. So you guys would think like I have some weird habit where I'm like holding my nose to sneeze. Would my lawyers be aware that there's something missing or it has to be requested by USCIS? The answer depends. There are many times that we feel like there's nothing missing from a case, and USCIS might choose to cherry pick on the evidence submitted and request additional evidence. And we have to either push back and say, here's your list of what is considered good evidence, and here's what we sent. What else do you want? or sometimes the clients may now have more stuff, especially in a marriage-based case. In a marriage-based case, a lot of times people file their marriage-based application when they're still newlywed. So because in those situations, they don't have as much. Like, so, you know, when I'm reviewing it, I know that you've only been married 3 months, so you just don't have as much as someone who's been married for a year, 2 years, or whatever. In those cases, like, what I tell them is to continue to document and organically acquire things, like just like any other married couple, like remove immigration from the equation. Acquire things the way you would, you know, if there were no immigration involved, so that by the time they schedule you for an interview, you have more good faith evidence to bring with you, or if they request additional evidence, you have more evidence, you know, to take with you. Okay. I'm going to answer this last question and I got to jump off. I did not submit my psychological evaluation with my petition at first. Should I wait to do it when I get an RFE or just do it now in case? The answer is going to depend on what kind of case you have. If you have a 751, I would suggest doing it now. It is possible it may still not reach them and they will do an RFE and request it and then you send it. But if it's for an I-751, I recommend, if you were found on a basis of extreme cruelty or abuse for an I-751, the preference is that you should submit your psychological evaluation with a 751. I strongly recommend it for that case type. If the basis is more mental, psychological, emotional, and you have no evidence of physical. With the VAWA case, many times we've amended to include it when they've done a series of therapy, you know, especially if time is of the essence when we did the original filing, or if we then get a request and they've had several sessions, because, you know, you want to do several sessions. The more sessions you do, the more helpful it is for the psychologist to be able to assess you and just really give a more solid recommendation. All right, guys, I hope you guys have a great one, and I will chat with y'all later. I gotta go.